Hi, I'm Kelly.
I'm Rich.
And we are on the Bus Adventures. With the bus away, we have been working on designing a bunch of furniture for our garage area,
Using a biscuit jointer for the first time,
wiring our battery bank.
and thinking about how we can cool all of our Victron gear.
Hope you enjoy. First of all, a bit of how we've designed this.
When I was ill a couple of weeks ago, took the time over a couple of days to draw out everything that we were going to put under the bed. The electric cupboard that we're going to build today, a set of drawers and a toilet. Then using OptiCutter, we calculated the cuts that were required and we exported it and sent it to the timber merchants. So they transferred this into their software and the layout was created. Today, taking delivery of the phenolic plywood and some birch plywood for the next project. They've labelled it, which is helpful. So you've got
Our fingerprints.
top and bottom of the toilet, and here we've
Toiletty.
got bottom of the drawer brace.
Oh, that looks lush.
Got a few marks in it, which should be good. And then all these bits here are for our electrical cupboard. The one bit that matters is damaged.
Oh.
I'm hoping that I can conceal it because there was going to be trunking running in front of it. It's not ideal. I don't like the inconvenience of it all for everybody. Really.
Well, yeah, for them having to climb out here to bring out one bit, it's
Like
like
25 miles to bring that
it's
to
just
me.
bad on the environment.
So I'll see if I can conceal it. On the bench here, I have a new tool. So this is a biscuit jointer, and it's basically made, as the name suggests, to allow you to join pieces of wood together with these little, not with bourbons, with these little biscuits here. So the material that I'm using is only 12mm thick. So I've made a little jig up, and Dave's been listening to my nonsense and giving me some ideas on how this could work. So tested it now, and I've got it dialed in. I run my biscuit jointer either side, it's not going to protrude through, and I've actually got plenty either side because I've been reading up online, and the carpenters amongst you will go, oh yeah, I know about this, but I want to make sure it doesn't telegraph, is the technical term, which basically means when you glue these in, these little biscuits, when they get wet, they expand by a few millimeters in all directions. The idea being is it basically becomes part of the fabric of the wood and holds it together. So I want to make sure I've got enough layers either side, so I've got like 3.5 either side, so it doesn't force them apart. And that's why I need to use number 0 ones and not number 10 ones on this 12mm ply. Here you can see hopefully that I've marked corresponding lines, because when you go in with the jointer you need them to line up, and that's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm just going to tape up just like I've done here so I can clearly see where I'm marking, measure, draw lines, and then go in with the jointer, go in with the pocket holes, and then hopefully we can glue it up and I can show you what this thing will actually look like. But yeah, first time using this, so we'll see how it goes. So what I've done is I've calculated the distance I need to come back on each side, bearing in mind that the joint comes back further still. Draw my line, and then I've drawn some horizontal lines at 10 centimeters, 30 and 50 where my biscuit joint's going to go, and I've drawn that on all the corresponding pieces. So hopefully they should line up, and I need to make a decision on whether to pocket hole or to just screw through on the sides here, bearing in mind it's going to be glued as well. But let's do the biscuit jointing first. Remember, this is my very first go at building something like this, and it's my very first go at using a biscuit jointer. So, you know, it could all go horribly wrong. Alright, so for these bits here, this is typically how it would be used. Just move my hat out of the way. So I need to change the angle so it comes down and is set on 90 degrees. I've already got it set up from earlier to come in the centre of the board. Then all you're going to do is come along in here, and then you can press this on the top. There's a red line here and here, and I'm going to line that up with the line I've got corresponding on the sides, and then just put my pockets in and go all the way along, and then do the same on the other side. Just like everything, obviously this is new to me, so I'm just showing you how I'm doing it. But in here you've got the pockets now, all in nice and neat, and then the biscuits go in after you've kind of glued them up, like so. And then they expand. You can see that there's a gap for expansion in there to hold it in place. And then what I'm going to do is measure these points between here and here, probably at the end, and put some screws through there too. Screwed and glued, so it should be sturdy, which is what we want, you know. Bus is going to be moving. We want it to be robust. When I'm in the van looking up into the bedroom area, I will see this bit here. So I think what I'm going to do is have this face of it facing downwards and have this on the top, because you won't see it, it'll be underneath the mattress. And then we are going to put vents and stuff all in this next, but for the time being I'm just dry fitting everything, and then it'll be ready to basically mock up where the battery box is going to go, and then we can screw it all together. I've got most of it grooved out now, so I'm just dry fitting it up. I'll make sure it all goes together well.
Look who's home from school!
Where's Mummy's car? Why have you got this car?
Lily!
Hello, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pilot hole through where the screws are going to go. I was going to pocket hole these, but if I use black screws you won't see it anyway, and I can screw them all the way through into the belly of the plywood, leave that overnight to dry, and carry on with the nice clever bits tomorrow. Okay, so the technique that I have found up through the interwebs of putting your glue in for your biscuits is basically you glue the hole first, then put your biscuit in there, and then that will allow the biscuit to expand. Now my glue that I'm using, it says that it's got the best applicator in the world, but it's rubbish, so I had a genius idea, I think. I've got a Calpol syringe and I've been using that to put it into the grooves, and that's been working out quite well. And then just been making sure that once I screw it up, I've been wiping the excess off before it dries. So on bonfire night, we were really lucky to have fireworks at home. We had some fun with the sparklers too, as well as marshmallows, which were really tasty.
Oh, don't clap them together.
Never cross the streams. You should learn that from Ghostbusters.
You can't sing Ghostbusters.
As you can see, the box, for the most part, is complete, but I do need to create a battery box. I wanted to see what the batteries actually look like in there, so I'm going to go and get them out now. In our live video, people said, have you gone for lithium? And actually we didn't. We bought the batteries quite a long time ago, and we've gone for super cycle AGM batteries, 170 amp hours. So we know that they will be good for up to 80% to depth of discharge, and actually they can get out to 100% for a few hundred times, but we're going to set it up to hopefully make sure that that never happens using a battery protect. But I'm going to go get them now, and I'm going to use this to save my back. I'm going to go grab them now. Alright, so they're in now. well, mopped up now, you can see the box is going to kind of envelop it. I want to be able to take the batteries in and out if I need to, which I hope I don't have to, but you know, if I need to swap one of them out or do whatever's, I need to be able to get a spanner in there to get the nut off the top to take that battery out, so I need to make sure I account for that too, which is going to require a little bit of thinking. Alright, so it's been some time and actually I've not got much further. This is a little bit of a case of van procrastination slash actually wanting to do things in the right order. So I want to reduce the height of the box, but at the same time I need to know that I'll be able to access all this stuff. What I'm going to do is cut my battery cable and see if that gives me ample access. At the back here, where my negative connections are, I'm going to have some conduit running along the back here for all of the wires and everything. It's going to look hopefully really neat. And what I'm going to do in that conduit is drill out a hole large enough so if I need to in the future take one of these batteries out, I can put my socket basically through the conduit, undo it, and these ones I'll be able to access from the front anyway, and just slide the battery out. The cable I'm using for my battery bank, which I've calculated to be more than man enough, is 70mm cable. And what I'm doing here is putting my terminals on so I can basically measure what they need to be, and then what I need to make sure happens is that each of these is the same length. So once I know what the perfect length is between, I can crimp these up. I'm wiring mine so you'll have all the positives going along in a row, and then you've got the positive feed coming off of this end of the battery bank. The negatives will wire from the opposite side together all the way down, and then the negative feed will come off the opposite end of the battery bank, so you can literally see it's opposite to each other. So this Victron gives you like 3 or 4 ways of making sure that you wire your battery bank so it's balanced, and this is just the way that I'm choosing to do it. Basically what it will mean in my layman's terms is you'll get as even as you can amount of charge going through each of the batteries, and the same with the draw. You'll get the same draw coming across the battery bank, rather than, because what you see some people possibly do is you'll basically wire it all in a row. This battery would always charge first, this one second, this one third, this one fourth, and it would be misbalanced. And likewise this one will be worked way harder in terms of draw, because it's the one that's being sort of drawn through at this end of the sort of scale. There's more technical videos out there of basically how that works. The next thing is to measure and cut the cable. This cable is hefty. Other things I've got in this box, so I've got some 4:1 heat shrink. This looks massive, and it is, but it shrinks basically down to a quarter of its size. There's a number of ways that I found that you can cut this cable, I've been told. So the main one is a pair of these, or a pneumatic pair of these would be even better. Although I've seen people quite successfully do it with an angle grinder. I'm not going to revert to that yet, but I might, depending on how hard work this is. Let's give it a go. That was alright actually. That's surprising. They were quite cheap. I'll link those down below. I was surprised. I'm genuinely shocked at how easy that was. Right, okay, cool. I was like pooing my pants that it would be not man enough to do that. Lugs here, I've stripped off 2 centimeters of sheath off of each end, and then I need to cut my heat shrink first to make sure that that's slid on nice and tight up to the end like that, and then I crimp it up. Okay, the crimp that I've bought a cheap enough tool, but I've got 2, but I bought a pneumatic one for this heavy stuff from the eBay, and it comes with a bunch of different dies. Basically it's like a little bottle jar, really. So if I have a look at here, I think the die that I've got in here is the largest that there is, and it's 70, which is what I need. You basically turn it on, pump it up in the die, and away you go. Obviously put your heat shrink on first. I'm going to do that in a minute, but because I can slide it on the other end. Make sure you do that. And then I'm going to go and use my vise to help me out here, really, because it's not impossible one-handed, but it's easier if you've got to. Pump it till it's nipped up. Yeah, that's all she wrote on that. And then you release the pressure and release the crimp. And then I'm going to do another one on the end, but you can see, yeah, that's on there. So I'm going to do another one on the end of it. You see there? See there, it's not quite crimped up. Do one in there. The connection to be sound, and I want all the cables to be the same length. I'm cutting these to 13 centimeters, I've worked out, and then I'm cutting 2 centimeters off the end of each of the sheath, and when they go in there, then you've basically got it perfectly lined up across the shortest possible way you can do it. You don't need to do it like this. I've seen people do it where it's like looped. As long as they're the same length, I just thought may as well take the path of least resistance, really. Don't put it in the vise when it's warm. It looks nice though. Right, okay, now the red ones. On to the last one. What have I learned? First thing is the vise is very helpful. The other thing I found is once you've got this bit sheath off and the correct length, you see there, twisting it on seems to help, so you don't get any frayed ends. This tool here has worked all right. It's fine. You kind of just need to be careful with it because the dies move until it nips up, and then what I found is you can let the pressure off, back on, and then if I can slide it down, I can slide it down basically half an inch then and crimp the next bit. Other thing I found, which is not new news, is the glue that comes out of this is very hot, so bear that in mind. Got it wired up now, so I can basically check the clearance that I need to be able to finally install all of this stuff. As you can see, so I've got all of the positives running in this direction with the feed coming off the end here, and I've got the negatives going the other way with the long negative cable going here. I've also taken the time to just seal up the ends of these cables here, because whilst I'm tinkering with these, I don't want to be causing a hell of a ruckus. What I've done is the lid of this box, I have cut it so it's got a lip at the back that is going to have recesses out that will allow me to get to the negative terminals, and then the lid on the front can remove that to get better access to the batteries in the future should I need to. This has allowed me to drop it right down on top of the box with just a couple of centimeters to spare on top, because on top of here it's going to be conduit that runs. There's going to be appliances here, which is why it's important that I overthink this and over engineer this box now to make it as user friendly as possible, because once it's in the bus I want to be able to, you know, access, maintain, do stuff as easily as I can. Okay, so what have we got here? So at the front here, this is attached with those screw-in nuts that I used on my console for my radio. So these are just machine screws. I can take these in and out and remove that as I would like. And then at the back here, what I've done is this will be hidden under this, which I'll cut out to allow access. But you can see that I've got access to the bolts, so that when this is removed, I can undo those and service it. Alrighty, Sunday, it's sunny, just a bit cold, so I've got my overalls on again, and I bought a new set of hole saws because today I need to drill a fair few holes in this thing. So along the top here, I'm putting in a fair few vents because, you know, we've got a shelf in here, there's going to be heat under, so I want a place for it to be able to escape. And then at the back, where I've got a void, I want to vent in there to act as an intake for the fans that I'm going to have underneath. Well, I've bought from Chris at Bespoke Solar some CBE camper plug sockets. So these are modular. You have an inner frame which is already in here and an outer frame. And in mine, at the back door, on the back edge, I'm going to have a 3-pin socket. I'm going to have a 12-volt auto socket on the back, just in case I need to run anything out the back of the van or in the garage itself, and then that'll be hooked up to the rest of the electrical system later. But I'm going to cut those in today. I was imagining the vents actually sitting on the top, but I think what I'm going to do, definitely for these front ones, is mount them on the underside, because again I won't be able to see the top, so the vent bit that we actually want to look good is underneath. When you look in from the garage area, you'll see those holes, so I've mounted those ones upside down. Alrighty, so I've turned the unit now. On the end here, this will be where it points out the back of the back doors. So what I'm going to have mounted inside here is a fan here. There'll be an exhaust. I'm going to have a fan at the bottom, which will be an intake to draw in cool air. And then I'll have a fan on the opposite end to basically create a wind tunnel behind where the appliances are. So we're going to have 2 fans. Then in the middle here, I'm going to put my CBE sockets. And then I've got these little covers to go over on the outside to just hide those holes. I've only bought one though, so I've just ordered another one and it's on its way. This was masked up, and then I marked out where I wanted the sockets to go, and these are ready for the hole saw. I can show you this in a future video. I actually spotted an opportunity here, so I can fit 3 of these CBEs here. Now I know that I've got my 2 fuse boxes for all my DC stuff, but I know CBE also make a 4 gang little fuse box that can go in here. So I'm going to utilise one of these slots here, and then I can use those 4 fuses to power. So one can power the fan relay in here, one can power the 12-volt socket that's immediately below it, one can power some lights that I'm going to put in the garage, and I'll have a spare in here as well. It just makes sense to do that to me. Then I know that that little fuse box is basically powering all of the stuff in the garage, and if there's anything wrong with it in there, that's where I can go and look.
The fans are in ready for the next step, but the rest of the stuff has only arrived today.
So we'll be doing that next.
All this Victron gear is on the agenda,
And we'll see how long it takes to install all of that.
we hope you've enjoyed this week's video,
Hope you have a great week.
and we will see you next time. Take care. 1, 2, 3.
Bye!